Hello everybody and welcome. Once again, we all are back with some very interesting feature of MongoDB, and that is called connecting your MongoDB with some application. So today we have decided whatever in our previous demonstrations I have shown you, we will help you to connect your MongoDB with the front end that is called Python. As we know it very well about the popularity of Python in last recent years, it is growing like anything. So we thought, why not to offer you this connectivity where you can have the MongoDB not in a local environment but in a cloud environment. So here we will tell you how to create the MongoDB complete environment of cluster in your cloud, and we can have this connectivity with our Python which is running local to my system. So I show you about few important things one by one. So why Python, MongoDB? We understand MongoDB is one of the most important database, which is so-called document-based database available in market, and it is fantastic, phenomenal in terms of speed and the reliability. It is purely called NoSQL database, okay, and helps you to go schemaless. Now, Python is one of the most commonly user-friendly programming language for creating a complete web-based framework. So it offers you huge amount of libraries with flexibility of connecting wide variety of applications. So we would like to give you the idea of like how Python and MongoDB works together. Okay, so you can use both the products together to develop different varieties of applications which can suit to different type of ideas. Now here we have one of the very popular tool available named called PyMongo. So PyMongo is actually the Python library, which is a kind of a driver through which you will be able to connect with your MongoDB and perform basic operations whichever you expect. Okay, so let's go ahead and start working on those demos. Okay, so we will start with creating a MongoDB environment with cluster in one of the very popular tool that is known as called MongoDB Atlas. So we'll be opening our website and go here and talk about called MongoDB Atlas. I search for MongoDB Atlas, that is basically the MongoDB where called database as a service. I'll be selecting the first option and go to the start free because it's going to offer you by default some 500 MB of free space. I say sign up with Google. Going ahead and selecting this. Okay, I say accept and say submit. Okay, so it is starting up now. It'll ask you about a few things. I would rather say to select skip and continue. Well, it'll ask you about which environment you would like to take. So I like to take this shared cluster. I say create cluster. Now here it will take a while to get yourself ready for. We can see it is offering the sandbox of having 512 MB of free space. And this MongoDB no backup, that is the by default cluster name. You can give the name of the cluster if you want, but let it be by default cluster 0. I'm saying create cluster. So my cluster is being ready. So it will take a while to get your cluster set up. So just wait till the time your cluster is getting ready. So I tell you about this cluster is going to give you by default 2 child and 1 parent, so called a 1 master and 2 child nodes where your cluster will get ready. So you really don't need to set up any kind of cluster in your local environment, and that is the best environment I would suggest for most of your development, where your time reduced. There will be no software requirement because sometimes version to version it changes, and you can get all the benefits of clusters. So we're just waiting till the time the cluster is getting ready. So once the cluster is ready, you will be seeing some options where will help you to create the clusters in your upcoming demos. So friends, your cluster is now ready. You can see now in this cluster, you have got this environment. So in this environment, you will see there are some options they have given you one by one. Build up your cluster, create a first database user, add an IP address, multiple options they're telling you now. So how to set up? So the first build of the cluster, which we have anyways done. Next is called create your first database user. So select this. So it will highlight this area. Now you can say like database access, and I'm going to create a first new database user and new database user, giving the username called admin. Let's keep very simple username and password admin123. So admin123. Yeah, same, and say add user. Now you can see the user is created. Now let's go back to the next option. It's telling me the network access. Now go here and say, sorry. Now say add IP address, and I'll say allow access from anywhere so that I can take it from anywhere. I say confirm. Now it is telling me about the progress. I select this. Now tell me about which type of collections you want. Okay, so I select this, and inside this I'll be selecting this called collections. Okay, and it's getting ready. So it is giving me some options. Well, two options it will give you: load sample dataset, add my own data. I'll say add my own data. Give the database name SL demo. Give the collection name EMP or employee. Remember, database name SL demo, or I can better give the name called SLDB. SLDB and employee. I say create. That is getting ready. Okay, so my database and table is ready. That's it. So I think we are all set with this environment. Okay, well, once it is ready, your collection is also ready. I'll go back and click on my project 0, and here, yeah. So once it is there, then I'll be clicking on this option called connect. Now it will give me the multiple options how to connect. So it will say connect with the Mongo shell, or it will say connect with your application, connect using Mongo Compass. I'll select the Python version 3.11 or later. So certainly I'll be using those version only. Okay, and in this I'm having this, so I will be using this to connect with my backend. So that's how exactly you have the setup of MongoDB cluster. Everyone, so we are all ready now with our setup. Cluster we have already created earlier. You remember about we have taken Python 3.11 or later. So here if I just go back and check, I have a got 3.8.5, which is Python 3 version, which is available. So you can select based on whichever we have it. Let's say 3.11 or later, we can say 3.6 or later. So there'll be no much difference if I just see. Even if I just talk about 3.4, there is some change, but here 3.6 or later, it is same. So I have a 3.8.5. Okay, so I can use the same option. So here in my VS Code editor, I am using for my development. So here's a simple demo.py I have used. Welcome to check if it is working fine. So yes, it is working fine. I'll start working with my first program with MongoDB. So I just go back and say demo py, or I can say py demo.py. Okay, and here if I want to go back and start working on the development, remember one thing: we need first dependency called PyMongo. Okay, what I need? PyMongo, and for this we have already installed this dependency here sometime back. This is how you need to install. Okay, so we have this statement name called what? Pip install PyMongo. That is the first dependency which you need to download in order to work with this. Okay, so that's what we have taken, this install PyMongo. So if you just see, you can go back and start developing this statement. Okay, so let's go back and start working on this. Step number one, you need to always say import number one. The one dependency which you've installed is called PyMongo. So you can just say PyMongo. That is a dependency we have recently imported from. Okay, let me go back and search from next point. So import PyMongo from here. We are saying PyMongo. Okay, PyMongo, and we're also saying import Mongo client. That's the first thing you need to remember. Okay, after that, we would like to go back and use the cluster. So we say cluster equal to Mongo client, and here I'll be passing the complete values, the one which we have taken. So this complete line, I just take it, go back, and here I'm pasting it. Now here I have to basically replace this password with admin123. Okay, and we are all set. Okay, now once it is ready, we can go ahead and define db equal to cluster and provide which database you're talking about. Okay, so you remember about we had a database which was available to us that is known as called SLDB. So I can just use the same SLDB there, and accordingly I can use which collection I'm connecting it to. So accordingly I can go back and insert a record. Okay everybody, so I can see I have got this file with me. Going forward, I have to tell, so this is what exactly the connection URL you have received. Now you have to define which database you're working on. Let me say db equal to cluster, and we have to provide in double quotes the database name called SLDB. If you remember, we have used this. After that, we have to mention which collection it was. So collection equal to db, and here we just give the name called employee. That was our collection name. So once it is ready, then I have to basically perform some insert operation. So I just say post. Okay, it's just a name equal to, and here we just provide the properties like I would say name. So it is a JSON based database, so I can just use the name. I say Amar, and once again I can just say email and say amar@email.com. That's it. So this is just the data which I have. Now I want to insert, so I can certainly say collection dot, because I want to insert only one record. You can see I have one functions coming up, collections dot insert one, and pass post as a parameter. Now we are all done. Let's try to run this. So I'll be running this with Python 3 pymongodemo.py. Hit enter. Now it's done. Let's confirm. Here into my code, I will just go back and check here inside my applications. I can just go back to my collections, and in employee, yeah, there we go. We have got some records coming up here. Okay, so these records are nothing but the one which we have recently inserted in our application. Okay, so fantastic. So first example is working perfectly fine. How we can have the records coming from the Python and insert it there. Like that, I can have as many number of records I can add it. So how we can basically add, if I want to add more than one records, let's see this now. Here, in case if I want to add more than one records, so I can just use called post one. I copy this URL and paste it below, and I say post two. I say Amar G email amar12@mail.com, and rather than saying insert one, I can use insert many, and inside this I'll be using this square brackets and pass post one comma post two. That's it. Okay, so let's change the little name because it is already there. Let's insert. Yeah, records are inserted. Let me verify once again by refreshing it. Well, now we have a total number of 3 records are available. Yeah, there we go. So records are added. Perfect. So like this, you can have as many number of records you can basically add it. In a similar one, the way we have basically used this, I can also perform the search part too. Okay. So in case if you want to perform the search part, we have a very simple statement available with us. What? I'll go here the way we have added this. So in this, I'll just these records which are added inside my application, I would not execute this. Rather, I would like to go back and say, um, no, they are basically commented now. And in fact, I would like to use this also. Okay, I'll go here and find results equal to same collection dot find. If I want to find a name, we can just use curly braces name colon Amarche. Okay, so let me say print and pass results. Okay, let's run this. Okay, so it will print what the results for me. Okay, so it is just printing what the cursor object for me, saying that hey, this is what the record is available to me. We can also change in case if we do not think the correct result is coming up. We can also go back and we can use some alternative option that is called for. Okay, so what we can do, let's take a look here. We can use for. With this for, I can say result. Okay, in results and print this result. That could be one option through which you can get the details with you. Okay, so what you can do, you can run this code again. Oh, I forgot to put this semicolon here, or we need to check. Well, that was my requirement was, so I'm having this. Let's try to run this. Well, I got my result, and this is what the detail which I have available to me. So very simple how you can basically find a record and how you can basically retrieve the records. At the same time, if you want to have the specific field rather than all the fields, so here in my code, in this result, okay, you can just put a square bracket and tell which field you really want it now. Suppose if you just want ID or else if you want name, you can basically pick that up. Okay, so if I just want that ID, The only ID is printed. That's it. Okay, everyone. So you have seen, like in my previous code, how we were basically trying to fetch all the records. We were using this find. Now, in a similar line, you can also have the option available, because see, when we used to talk about called find, it gets me lot many records. Fine. And because of that, we were using this loop. But in case if you want to fetch the individual records, are we clear? So in such cases, you really do not want to use find. You can just use find one. So what you can do is, rather than using find, I can also use one more option called find one, and for which I can come back, just remove this all. Yeah. So here in this case, rather than using this find, I can use find underscore. You can see this option called find one. Here we talk about which are the properties you want to skip and which are the properties you want. So I can just use this option called underscore id, okay, colon 0. Okay, I just remove this underscore id 0, and here just print what results. That's it. Let's run. So that will try to fetch some of the records for you, because if you do not have that ID which you've overridden, it will certainly not found. That depends on what you would like to take. So if I just say this is having some issues, but no problem, but you know it very well how it basically takes. Now in a similar line, we would like to also perform one more activity to talk about delete. So for which what I will do is this, I just want to uncomment it. Okay, and I would like to insert some records here. So here I want to add the ID by my own with name. So we already have this name. Email, I have it. I would like to use underscore ID. Okay, so we have this property underscore ID colon 101. Okay, comma, like this. Copy the same, using it here, and this time I'm using 102. Name and everything, it'll be taken. Let me say user 1. Here we try to say user 2. Okay, so collections dot many result find one. I'm just deleting it all, and let's try to execute it first. Okay, so it's executed. Going back. Okay, so I have some records with ID 101 and 102. Now here I just delete this and perform some actions here. Here we say results equal to collection dot delete. See, the options are available: delete one and delete many. It totally depends on what you really want. Okay, so if I just talk about called delete one, it will be only deleting one record. Delete many means where the matching records are available, you delete it. Fine. So I'm just using this option called delete many. Okay, wherever the property names are matched, cause quite possible names sometimes match or whatever it is. So it's delete many. So the option is up to you now how you want. So the selected name you have to offer it, whether you want to match it with the name or whether you want to match it with the email or whatever it is. So that will be offering it. But there's also an option available where you would like to delete everything. Are we clear? So if you're planning to delete it everything, what you can do, you can just leave it as a blank and try to run this. So collection dot delete underscore many. Let's check. Great. All records are deleted. So as I told you earlier also. So delete many means what? It will delete all the records whichever are present in your code now. Clear? In a similar one, if I want to perform insert, so you remember about we have an option called what? Insert many, and here we would like to pass post 1, post 2. Let's execute. So it will add the records inside this. Okay. And next time, what I want to perform, after adding this record, I would like to perform the update part. Okay. So what I really want in my update, let's take a look. Update means certain properties I'm looking forward to be get updated. Okay. So in case if I want to check whether record has to be updated, I would first go and check whether the record does exist or not. Yeah, we have two names, user1 and user2. Let's go back and update part. Here, I just say collections. Okay, dot update one, update. You can see update one here. Very simple functionality. Here you will go and tell which ID you would like to perform an update. So I say underscore ID colon. Which ID you want to consider? I'm saying 101. Okay, and what else? So I just use another curly braces and I say, sorry, dollar set. And after this, I use this colon, use the curly braces, name, okay, and use what name you want to use it. So suppose there is a user one, I'm saying user 123. Okay, let's see. It is loading and you can see the record user 123 is updated. Perfect. So your code is absolutely working fine. So you talk about either insert, you talk about what update, you talk about anything, it works. So insert, update one, delete one, insert one, as the name suggests, they'll be taking care about inserting, updating, and deleting one records. But the moment you use many, they'll be performing multiple records. So this is a very simple way like how the Python will connect with your MongoDB.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.